Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here live, day 2 of the Fintech Summit, and with me is Jeremy Britton. He's the CFO of Boston Trading Co. Jeremy, absolute pleasure having you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
How's everything today?
It's amazing. Like there's so much on display. It's kind of like kid in a candy store for technology, and there's lights and there's things and there's virtual reality. It's just amazing.
And I suppose you love tech.
A little bit, yeah. I'm a big kid at heart, so who doesn't want to play with the artificial intelligence?
Right. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Boston Trading Co. What is it that you guys do?
Well, my background is 30 years in the stock market. Mm-hmm. I would create a portfolio for you, so you'd come in and say, I want to invest in stocks, but I don't want to invest in firearms, or I don't want to invest in tobacco, and I want it low risk or whatever. So I spent 30 years creating stock portfolios, managing investments for people. And 10 years ago, I discovered crypto. When crypto is like a little tiny stock market, and there's projects out there doing things, and there's projects that are rubbish, similar to the stock market. Right. And I started teaching my friends, like, do the research the same way you research stocks. You can research into crypto, and you can buy the good ones, avoid the bad ones.
Right.
And a lot of my friends, accountants, lawyers, business owners, they said, I don't have time. Can you create a thing where you can actually do it for us? So we created the world's first crypto mutual fund. There's plenty of stock mutual funds in the world. We created the world's first crypto mutual fund 10 years ago.
Amazing.
Managed to outperform Bitcoin for 8 years in a row.
Crazy.
Because when Bitcoin goes down, something else comes up, and that's the way you want your portfolio balanced.
And how do you build that trust with your clients? I mean, in such a decentralized space.
Well, clients, we expect our clients to research us. So before we invest into a project, we're going to do a deep dive on the project, find out who are the founders, what's the product, what's the market.
Right.
We've occasionally hired a private investigator to look into the founders of a project to make sure that they've got experience and that they're telling the truth.
Do you ever tell them after?
No, we just don't invest in the dodgy ones. But yeah, anyone can create a fake Facebook profile. Some people create fake profiles on LinkedIn and things like that. So we want to make sure we're investing in something solid, and we expect our clients to research us. Like, we've been around now for 10 years, but even in our first year when we first started in crypto, like, Google me, find out about me. I've been in the market for 30 years. I wrote books about stock markets 20 years ago.
Right.
And we've always kept abreast and up to date with the way things are going in the markets.
Amazing. Do you feel like there's that educational gap, in the world? And how can we bridge that educational gap? Because I feel like with AI now, crypto, on a 100 miles an hour basis, things are changing.
Yeah.
So many generations are left behind. Like, we're lucky to be in the UAE here, where we have the Ministry of AI. We have a government that's so supportive that is going to, teach us so much about all these topics. The other rest, 80% of the world, that's not the Middle East, is just behind at the moment. I'm not going to lie. So how do you think you can kind of educate people to actually bridge that gap between the two?
We do as much as we can. I mean, even before we started the fund, we started a not-for-profit educational service. My first book was demystifying the stock market, explaining it to people, because you don't learn this stuff at school. You don't go to school and learn how to buy shares and start your own business.
I wish I did.
I didn't learn until I was 19 when I left school. So we do a lot of founder interviews, do a lot of podcasts and YouTube videos explaining it to people. So if they want to understand it, they can. And we're fully transparent with what we invest in. It's all on the website. You can have a look there and see our little bubbles, what we invest in.
Okay.
So it's fully transparent at all times. If you want to do it yourself, you're going to learn how. We'll teach you how.
Right.
But if you don't have time, then we'll do it for you.
Well, you do it for them, right. What's happening with the stock market now? What are your predictions? Can you make predictions?
We can make forecasts.
Yeah. Let us use your expertise just for a couple of seconds.
So my first book I wrote in 2006. And I was looking at what was going on in the market. Then anyone who's seen the movie The Big Short,
I was watching it a few months ago.
knows that the US was giving out loans to cats and dogs and things like that. It was not a very good time. And in 2006, I wrote the book and said, hey, there's going to be a property market crash. It's going to cause a stock market crash because it's going to affect the banks. And when I wrote the book,
you're basically the guy in the movie.
Yeah. When I wrote the book, I was warning people, and people didn't want to know. The guy in the movie didn't tell anybody. He just made a bet against the banks, and he made $1 billion. I tried to warn thousands of people, and I wasn't very popular. I was like the kid on the Titanic saying, look out for the iceberg, and everyone's having a party.
Right.
So I wasn't very popular at the time, but then 2 years later, when the global financial crisis happened, then everyone's like, oh my God, how did you know? We want you on our TV show. We want you on our radio show. So we just look at patterns. And September 2019, you can go on our website and see, because we're at the last 10 years of newsletters, monthly updates. So September 2019, there's actually a little picture of a Boston Terrier with a crash helmet. And we're saying, there's going to be a stock market crash. Don't panic. Just gently sell your stocks, buy gold, buy silver, buy Bitcoin. that's what we said to people. 6 months later, the pandemic occurred. The market crashed. Gold went up 50%, silver went up 100%, Bitcoin went up 400%.
Right.
So people who followed our recommendations avoided the loss of the pandemic and actually made a lot more money.
Right.
And it's not because we can see the future, it's just we see these things have happened before. If you look at the stock market charts for the last 200 years,
right.
you can see every few years when this happens, when this happens, and this happens, there's going to be a crash.
Right.
And that's what we do. We keep abreast of that and we educate people how to do the same thing.
And where is your interest in investment going now?
Well, we have our 2 words is financial inclusion. So we want everybody to be able to get into the stock market and understand it simply. We want everybody to be able to get into crypto. So that's why we started.
Do you think crypto is the future?
Absolutely. Crypto is 24/7 and it's worldwide. So people in India not necessarily buying the S&P 500. And people in Japan not necessarily buying the FTSE. And while you're sleeping, someone else is trading. So crypto is the first asset that's truly in every single country at all times. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't take a day off for Christmas Day or anything like that. So we educate people, and for the people who don't have the time, so we created the world's first crypto mutual fund 10 years ago. And we've also launched the world's first halal crypto fund for the Muslim community. We've launched the world's first kosher fund and the world's first Sanat.
I wanted to ask you about that. What does that mean, a halal fund?
Yeah, so for the people who are Muslim, they can't invest in things that pay interest.
Okay.
They can't invest in speculation. So a lot of the meme coins, like Trump coin, doesn't do anything. It just the price goes up and down, which is speculation. It's gambling.
Right.
And so that's not good for some people's religion. So if you want to invest in line with your faith and your ethics, and you say, here's a fund that we designed for you, so that you can invest with your faith and your ethics, and it's all carefully curated. It's signed off by the imam. It's signed off by the crypto halal people.
Right.
So it is actually halal investments rather than the haram ones.
Right. Great stuff. Great stuff. Honestly, I really want to invite you to our podcast one day.
Sweet.
I feel like these 5 minutes that we have today are not enough. And thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you, man.
And I hope to see you again very soon.
Fantastic.
Thank you.